it kind of feels like getting an MBA in about 8 months. Don't underestimate the mental and emotional toll that it will take on you in terms of, there's a long period of not really knowing any. I mean, you don't know what the market's going to think about your business until somebody starts to send you an LOI, and then that starts to answer the question for you of what they think. So there's often times when you're going to feel like you want facts, and there are no facts, right? Until the facts get created later in the process. For me, I was out on a walk one day in April last year, and I did not wake up in 25 planning to sell the company. And I was out, and that was the moment that it hit me. It was like, this is what you're supposed to do, Mike. And from that moment, you've got a zillion questions, and those questions swirl in your head, and it kind of wears you out emotionally until you start to get firm answers. Those firm answers often don't come for 8 months, right? And so meanwhile, you're still leading your business. You're still trying to drive the business forward. And that's a strange spot to be in, especially when you're the only one at that moment that knows that you're going to pursue this. I was always transparent with my leadership, and they knew what my intentions were over time. And as soon as I really decided to engage and move forward, I shared that with them so that they knew what was going on. The process, if a good process gets run like Focus did, there's a lot of calls and a lot of questions, and that you're going to answer the same question 50,000 times. But you'll really start to get good at fielding those questions, talking to private equity, all these different things. But there is one really positive thing I would say is it kind of feels like getting an MBA in about 8 months. And the amount you learn is tremendous, that can really help you going into the future. Once you make a selection, don't underestimate what's going to happen in due diligence. One thing I would really encourage anybody that's listening to this in the future, thinking about selling their company, you must have your key players on the team involved in that discussion at the time that you're going to make the selection and you're going to move forward into due diligence, because you will get absolutely crushed trying to get through that process without, you've got to have finance, you've got to have HR, you really need ops in that conversation, and you need sales, because they're going to want to know about everything, and you have to offload that work to other people to get it done. For us, our buyer, they wanted to move quickly. And so for us, we closed from the time I signed the LOI to we closed was only 35 days. And at our size, it was incredibly intense. But that's part of choosing the right buyer too, because the right buyer is organized and equipped and ready to move through that process in a professional manner versus those that haven't, done acquisitions before. I think that probably shows. Then you get through the due diligence, and now you need to make the announcements, and you need to talk to your staff, and the process. I think of it kind of like a train where the owner's up at the front of the train, right? And then your executive team's like a few cars back, right? And then your team, the rest of your company's even further back. So things I experienced here, and I'm now way down here on the tracks, and I'm past that, they're just experiencing, right? And just going through. And so that process of managing change for the company and the organization, making sure that your employees and customers are well informed and well communicated to, and that you're keeping them calm and working them through that change, and understanding that they're experiencing that change, but not with the same degree of control that you have as the owner, is really important to keep things stable and make sure that the transition for everybody, they get through that. And that's going to last several months. And as soon as they get to the right spot, that's when they're going to start see and feel changes, right? Which sort of lights that back up again. And so that process, you know, I mean, we're 6 months post close, and you still have that with people a little bit. We're mostly past it now, but that's definitely something to think about.